Those of you that watch my channel know that I just got through making a CNC quilting machine for my wife, and that video will be listed in the description if you, and also it's probably at the end of the video if you're interested in that. But today what I want to do is show you, in order to use that, you've got to have some G code. So I'm going to show you first how to take a vector image and turn it into something that you can use, and then how to turn that into some G code. So let's get started. Now, we're going to be using all free software, so you're not going to have to buy any software at all. So the first thing we're using is Inkscape, and if you don't know how to use Inkscape, there's tons of tutorials out there. I'm not going to go into that. So here is our workspace right here, and this is basically like 8.5 by 11. And so we're going to need to change the size of this. So we're going to go up here to File and drop down to Document Properties. And now our document properties are going to open over here, and I like working in inches. So I'm going to change my units over here to inches. And I'm going to make this the width. So the width is going to be whatever the width of your quilt top is. So if your quilt is 5 feet wide or whatever, so let's just say that our quilt is 48 inches wide, and then we're going to just make a panel that is 12 inches tall, and we're just going to hit enter. Okay, now if we zoom out, and you can do that by hitting the minus key, but now you can see we have a panel. Now, so it's 48 inches wide and it's 12 inches tall. Now our quilt obviously is more than 12 inches, but depending on the size of your long arm, you may only be able to quilt 9 inches or something like that. So you want this panel to be not any taller than what you can do in a single roll of your quilt top. So this is kind of arbitrary to fit your situation. So the next thing we need is a design. So let's go to, this is a good place that has quite a few free designs. It's called Quilts Complete. And the thing is, I'm going to show you how to do this, but then these are free, but you can also, they sell for about $15 a piece. So you can use this process to make as almost an unlimited number. So we're going to download this one right here. Okay, so here I've got it downloaded, and you can see you've got all kinds of different files. Now, the easiest one that I find to use out of here is this one right here, this PDF. Okay, it says Foxit Reader PDF document for me because that's what I open them with, but it'll probably just say PDF document or something like that for you. So let me go back into Inkscape. Okay, so now it's time we want to bring in our PDF. So we go up here to File, and we go to Import. And now we're in the folder that we downloaded, and you may have to extract that if it was a zip file, which this one was when I downloaded it. And here's our PDF that we want, so we're going to click that and hit Open. I don't change any of this, I just import it as the settings are, hit OK, and there's our PDF. Now let's zoom in on this for just a second, because one of the nice things about using this PDF is it shows you the repeat and how close it's supposed to be together. Some pantographs one row will be like this, and then the next row offsets. This one's nice in that it all lines up on one side. It makes it real easy for you. Okay, so you notice as you move this around, if you click off of it, click back on, it's all one item. So you have to break this apart. So go up here to Object and hit Ungroup. And now you can see you've got multiple items. So this is well, click off of it, click back on. This is by itself. And this is the piece that we want to design with. So we're going to bring it down into our block. Alright, and so the way you repeat this is, so you click on it, and then right click, and hit duplicate right there, and it gives you another one. Okay, and then you just slide it over, and see how it kind of clicks together right there? That's what you want to do. And we'll do that again. And again. Okay, there we are. Now, if we were to go and try to make G-code out of this, you'll notice that it's still a bunch of different images. And so the thing about doing a long arm is once you tell it to start sewing and you tell the machine to move, you want it to start sewing and not stop. All of the things that make G-code are made for like CNC routers or something like that. And so they expect that they can lift this router up out of the hole and they can move it over and they can start again. And so, but every time your machine moves, it's going to stitch because your stitch regulator is going to move it. Your stitch regulator is going to have it stitch every time it moves. So you've got to have it start right here at this spot and continue to move and not try to start somewhere else and then stop when it gets to this very end down here. So the way we accomplish that is we go up here to this node tool and we're going to zoom in a little bit and you click that and then we're going to hold down shift and we're going to click the image next to it and then it's connected right here. So we're going to zoom in, it's connected right here and then we're going to highlight that node right there. So you've highlighted both of the nodes that are touching. You're going to go up here to this node tool that says join selected nodes. And notice here, see these dotted lines? That's where you've selected it. And when we click this, those should go away. So we're going to click it. They went away. And now those two are one path. It starts here, it goes all the way through, and it ends right there. And now we're going to continue to do that a few more times. We're going to hold down shift, click the next one. We're going to zoom in. We're going to highlight that. You can hold down shift or not when you're highlighting this right here. Come back over here, join those selected nodes. You notice the dotted lines went away, and it's all one path. Do it again. Okay, now let's go back up here to our normal select tool. All right, now this is not quite as wide as our quilt. So first let's go over here and let's align this. So we're going to go to Object, Align and Distribute, and it's going to give us these tools here. So we want to click this down to be Page, so relative to our page, and then we use this tool right here, which is aligned to the left edge, and then this tool to align it to the bottom edge, and there it is. Okay, so that is aligned to this bottom corner right here. Now, you can see it's not quite as long as we want it to be. So go up here to the top, and again, I'm going to change this to inches. There's really no reason, but I like inches better. All right, and so see this little lock button right here? We're going to lock that. You don't have to, but if you don't, it'll distort the image when you move it. And then you can grab this corner right here and drag it out until it's the length you want it. And I want that leaf to be right on the edge, so I'm going to drag it to there. Okay, so now this is 48. It says it's 48.5 inches long because it's got this little tail here, and we're going to get rid of that in a minute. But it's the full length of our quilt top, and this is it is 6.8 inches tall. So this is where you kind of have to make the decision of what height do you want this to be? What multiples of this fits your quilt top the best? Because you might want to have, I've connected, I don't know how many that was, 6 of these together or something, but I could do less of them, and then when I pull it out, see how that distorts it a little bit? Then when I pull it out, it's going to be taller. And so now see it's 8.6. So you can kind of get it to whatever you want it to be. I'll show you some other tools of how to cut this thing off here in a minute. Okay, it's just a preference kind of thing. All right, so now let's work with this a little bit. So let's say that we need this thing to be let's say we need it to be 8 inches tall. Okay, now I'm going to realign it. Line it to the left and to the bottom. Okay, now you can see I now have all of this sticking out the side. Okay, so in order to get rid of this over here, I'm going to go back to my node tool right there. And you can see my path is coming along here. It comes along, it makes this leaf, and then it comes out into this part. Okay, now actually I could have just not added this panel on, but I want to show you how to break these things up if you need to keep them. So I would click this node right here, that one right there. You click that node and then come up here and choose this tool, which is break path at selected node. So you click that and that breaks that path right there. And then on your keyboard hit delete. Okay, and you can see that line just disappeared. Now we're going to go up here to path and we're going to drop down to break apart. Okay, now you can see these dotted lines showed up, and that's showing you that this is now separate from that. So now if I go over here to my select tool, now when I click on this, you'll see it's highlighted all the way across. So I need to come back to object and hit ungroup. Now it's also ungrouped there. I can click this now and I can delete it. All right, and now my path is going to end right here. Okay, so that was a pretty easy one. All right, so let's talk about the beginning of this. So my sewing starts right here, and I don't want it to start on the inside. I want it to start out here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and click this Bezier tool, and then up here is your modes right here. This is kind of straight lines. These are curves. I want a curve, so I'm going to click that. I'm going to come down and click the start. I want a curve, so I'm going to click up here a little bit, and then I'm going to click out on the outer edge. Double click, and that stops it. Now, just like I had to join all of these together, I have to join that together now to make it part of it. So that's already selected. Hold down your shift and select this other part that's not. Highlight your node, come up here and hit join, and you can see it kind of distorted it a little bit. Sometimes you'll get that. Sometimes it depends on which one you click first. If I had clicked the other one, clicked this item first and then the line, it might have acted a little different. But I can take this and select it around. Just move these little handles, make it look more like what I want it to look like. Okay? And there we go. Okay, now let's do something a little harder. So, because sometimes, this one was pretty easy. Sometimes they're a little harder. Let's say we have to end it in the middle of something kind of confusing like this. Okay, so let's zoom in over here. Now, if we have to cut this off, this is a path. It's not really a picture. It's a path. So we have to break that up. So we're going to go over here and we're going to select our node tool and come over, and our path is already selected. We're going to highlight right through where we need that to be cut. And we want to cut it right across that line at the edge of our document. So we're going to hold it right there, and then we come up here and we go to our break path at selected nodes tool, click that. Okay, it now broke that. Now hit your delete, and you can see most of it went away. Some of it is still left. So sometimes the problem is there's not a node in here. Sometimes the easiest thing to do is to just back these up, grab them, and just kind of, well, see, I don't like that one. All right, I'll tell you what, let's undo that. And one more to unbreak it. So let's don't break it that far in. So let's see, what happened was this node disappeared, so it jumped all the way back to here. And this node was left out here. So what we're going to do is we're going to break it. We're just going to break this stuff off right here. So grab that, and then come up here again and do the break path. Then hit delete on your keyboard, and it gets rid of all of that. Okay, now we've got a little orphan piece out here that's not connected to anything. And we can just select it and then hit delete, and it'll go away. Okay, so between here and here, I want to get rid of this. Now, like I said, you could grab this and bring it in, but see how it distorts it? So let's undo that. If you click this one, that little node right there, and then hold shift and click this node right here, then come over here to the far left and you see this insert new node. Click that, and it gives you another node right there. So now you can move that node. Well, you can click off of it, and then click back on, and then you can move that node right there, and then come out here and click this node, and you can delete it. Now, you can see we got a little wrinkle here. So we can try using our handles. Nope, that's not going to fix it. There, that's pretty good, right there. Okay. And then I'm just going to leave this little bump out here. It's not going to bother me. Okay, but now we have to fix our path. So our machine's coming in here, and it does this, it does that, and then it gets lost right here. So we have to connect this to the rest of our path, which is down here. So let's go to our Bezier tool right here. And the easiest way to do that, up here you've got the modes. This is the curved mode, but this is outside of our quilt, so we don't care. So we're going to use this straight line. It makes life easier. Click that. Just click over here, and then click right there. That gives us a line there. Now it's going to come down here, and it's going to finish right here, but that's in my quilt top. So go up here and change this to the spiro path, or the smoother line. Click the end of that, and I just want to pull it out. Get down there. There we go. Now, okay. So now, just like we connected everything else together, we've got to go get our node tool. Select both of those. Select that node. Come up here, join it, and now that's part of the path, and we have to do that to this line right here. We're going to click that. We've already selected the other part of it. Select the node, add that together, and then we'll go up here and do this one. There we go. Now, sometimes you come in here and you notice that changed. Let me back it up. Let me hit Control Z. See how this line went skinny? It gets information from the rest of the line. So sometimes you have to go in, and because sometimes it'll wrinkle all this up somehow. And usually what you have to do is you delete the last endpoint, the last node, and put it back in manually. And when you do that, usually it'll get rid of that information and it'll work. So now, let's see. Let me put this back because I didn't have a problem with it. Okay, there we go. And so now that is ready. But you see how I broke that apart, and then I had to add back in lines to keep this being one single path. If I had left these as different pieces when we made the G-code, it would like come out here and finish right here, and then go back to 0, and then come back, and then do this, and then go back to 0, and come back, and finish out. And so every time it tries to go to 0, it's stitching across your quilt. So you have to have it only start from one line right here and go all the way through and finish at the end point. Okay, so now let's click off. And one thing that helps us is if you take this node tool and you highlight it, you can see, if you run over it, you can see it all turns red. So it's all connected. So in the next video, we'll talk about how to take this and turn it into G code, either in open builds or just right here in Inkscape. Thank you for watching.